Someone call on you to pronounce those. Zachariah. Hervinia.
Hervinia.
Yeah, how do you?
Hervinia.
And Batty. Michelle. Yeah.
These are Rachel. Some of these names are Rachels. Okay. You know what? Oh.
Telling us to migrate our favorites to
I do need to do that. I do sometimes use Foxfire. Firefox. Yeah.
Got so much garbage up there. Clerk will call the roll.
Lynn Whitley, Commissioner.
Here.
Roy Charles Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
present.
Devin Allen, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Figgis, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation today will be delivered by Reverend Alan Bentrup from St. Martin in the Fields Episcopal Church in Keller. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Let us pray. We remember this day the life of Deputy Billy W. Sheets. Thank you for his faithful service to our community. May his soul rest in peace, and may his family, friends, and loved ones be comforted by the peace that only you provide. We pray for the people of Tarrant County. May your blessing continue to be upon us as we learn and live and work and play together as brothers and sisters. We pray for our county judge, county commissioners, county staff, and their families. May you renew and encourage their hearts and their minds as they seek to serve this community. Remind this council, O God, that at the end of our days, not one of us will be judged or measured by our titles or accomplishments. Rather, we will be judged and measured by how we treat the left out, the powerless, and the vulnerable.
Yes.
Bless our time together today. In your holy and gracious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I, the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, Reverend. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the court, we have several announcements as it relates to the agenda this morning. Today, we're going to go into work session. That will actually be a special call meeting of the Commissioners Court. That is to hear presentations from two vendors that are seeking contracts with JPS dealing with the parking garage. That meeting will be held in 504C. So when we come back from close, we'll come back in here, we'll adjourn here, go to 504C, and call this to order again. Members of the court, also, we have, as it relates to the agenda today, under the county administrator section, item 10A8, we're going to ask that we hold that particular item for 1 week. Under Human Resources, item 10E4 concerns departmental reorganizations. We're going to remove that from consent just to see if there is any comments that the court might want to make on that particular item, as Glenn is going to lead us through that discussion. On purchasing, 10H5, 6, 5 and 6. 5 is bid number 2022-006. We're going to hold that for 1 week. We want to provide a little more information to the court before we ask you to approve that. And that also goes for item number 6. Bid number 2022-034. We need to go ahead and provide you all a little more information on that before we ask you to take action. On item number 7, under purchasing, there's revised court communication. It's in your red folder. The only difference is we clarified some of the funding sources and the amount of money that's necessary for next fiscal year. Also, members of the court, we do have an audience participation form this morning that deals with the Sheriff's Department items. That would be 10I, 1, 2, and 3. We'll take those up, but we have an audience, as I said, an audience participation form on each of those 3, so we're removing them from consent, and we'll take action individually on those particular items. And then finally, members of the court, we have 2 briefing items. We're going to change the agenda as far as when we consider these, after we have employee recognition and move to the county administrator section. Before that, we're going to move to the tax abatement, the Deloitte University expansion, the town of Westlake. Ms. South is going to make that presentation. We also have a representative from Deloitte University here to address the court if necessary. Then we'll ask Mr. Tenasia to come forward and do his emerging health issues. And then we'll start the administrator section. Court, I do want to take an opportunity now to talk just a little bit about, under our announcements, future agenda announcements for the court. Currently, we are at a point where that the budget department has, and the budget director has concluded their budget hearings, or they will by today. And we're getting the tax rolls in. We've gotten April's and May's. I believe I sent that to each of you. We're still waiting for June's. We're not going to really focus on the numbers until we see June's, and then July, which is the official tax statement that we base our ad valorem base on. I was intending to see if there was any thing that you all wanted to talk about as related to the budget process. We're moving pretty close to that. We've been holding a substantial amount of hearings. Ms. Geese from Budget has done, and her team has done an excellent job, but we're meeting with the auditor's office and the budget office and our office and HR to look at a variety of things. I'm just curious if there's anything that you would like to see specifically as a future agenda item so that we can prepare for that and also have it structured properly on the agenda.
Some of the things that we've talked, or that I've at least mentioned, that I'd like for us to consider, and, I would encourage the other court members, if you agree or disagree, to some extent, let us know that. But I'd like for us to look at residential homestead exemption, maybe in the range of 5 to 10%. We have talked a little bit about longevity pay for, I originally had said specifically for detention, jail, public health, and juvenile, but I think we might look at not only those, but also at just overall county. And then the other thing that is, that I'm hearing more and more of, and as I'm talking with other businesses as well as other governmental entities, is just the impact that inflation is having in the way of gas prices, food prices, everything else. So I think especially, and we haven't seen the Hay results yet, but I think we need to look at our overall compensation for our employees and, look at just different aspects of that, not only our floors and our ceilings, but our just overall process in that deal. So I hope that as we get and as we hear from the Hay group, that HR and the budget and audit will have looked through that and take that into consideration. At least those are the three things that specifically I have thought about thus far.
And Commissioner Bush, we're going to be bringing a resolution that you had requested. It'll be on next week's agenda.
Thank you. And I agree with your three things, especially if we can establish a homestead exemption on our own authority without legislative action. That's something we ought to do.
We've tried for the last two sessions of the legislature to get them to allow us to do a dollar amount. And I would much prefer a dollar amount than a percentage, but percentages is all we have right now as a tool in our toolbox. And so I think we need to look at that to give some relief.
It's high time that we had some kind of a homestead exemption, and trying to get the legislature to do it the way we would prefer to have it done isn't working. So we need to use the tools that we have and go ahead and create one.
Any other comments or thoughts at this time?
I will tell you that we have been working with the district attorney's office and Mr. Cradaville as it relates to a homestead exemption. We're on the clock, basically, and the Commissioners Court has to take action by July 1st in order for it to be effective this next tax year.
Let's get her done.
Why would that be the case?
Statutory requirement.
That's correct, Judge, by statute.
Okay. Well, that narrows that down real quick.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Commissioner, did you have?
No,
Okay.
I think we should move forward with that,
Okay.
the exemption.
Commissioner Johnson, do you have anything you'd like to add to the agenda, upcoming agendas?
No, but I agree with what's been said.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. As we move into the commissioners section of this, I would like to make a couple of comments, and then first off, I want to extend condolences to the family and friends of one of our sheriff's office colleagues, Deputy Bill Sheets. He passed away unexpectedly over the weekend, and we're grateful for the service he's given almost 20 years to the county, and we want to keep his family in our prayers. Also, I hope today that not only can we close in the memory of Deputy Sheets, but also in memory of the 21 lives that were taken in Uvalde exactly 2 weeks ago today.
Amen.
We're still grieving this. It was just horrific. I mean, I don't know that we can say anything more than that. I do want to thank our local law enforcement personnel who traveled to Uvalde to assist their officers and provide relief at the funerals, including officers from Fort Worth, Lake Worth, Grapevine, and Northwestern Hills. As we move forward, I know that we're looking for what we can do to ensure a safer community here. One of the focuses that we've seen in the beginning of with our ARPA funds is a kind of a pot set aside for strengthening the community, and specifically a goal to mitigate our community violence. We've set aside $40 million for that, and I think we finished our first round of proposals, and from that we will begin to look for ways that we can allocate money and hopefully be able to make a difference. In the meantime, I believe that there's a program that JPS and the Health Science Center are looking at, and it's something that is called the Texas Child Mental Health Care Consortium. And Mr. Manius, if we could get a briefing on that. I think it was actually coming from an initiative that was passed by the state in 2019, and if they could come and give us a little bit better understanding of that, I think that would be helpful, and to see if we can't maybe move forward a little bit in that regard. That's all the comments I have. Court members, I don't know if you have.
I do have a few announcements to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to, it seems appropriate that I tell you all that the resolution I have asked the Administrator's Office to prepare is to ask the Governor to call a special session to deal with the safety of our children in schools and some common sense measures as relates to the ownership of assault weapons in the state of Texas.
Okay.
We will consider that next Tuesday.
Well, and somewhat to that end, I was going to share in announcements that 3 of our state delegation, Tarrant County delegation members are hosting a Safe Texas Town Hall this coming Thursday from 6 to 7:30 at TCC South Campus. And it is to have a discussion about common sense gun safety measures. So wanted to be sure to share that with you all. And then also is a reminder that yesterday was a start of early vote for the local elections. I know everyone, at least the folks that I'm talking to, they're like totally done with elections. They feel like every other week we're having an election. Because I feel like every other week I'm reminding everyone, including myself, that we're having an election. But it's important that you make your voice heard. So if you are a voter in Precinct 2, Mansfield ISD Board School of Trustees has a runoff in one of their places there, and then also the City of Arlington, and I believe it's place number 6 has a runoff. So.
And the Fort Worth ISD has a runoff as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know the district number, but it's Southeast Fort Worth.
Yeah. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention was to make an introduction rather. Jay Jackson, who served as my precinct administrator almost since the start of my service here on the Commissioner's Court, he left county service in April, and I'm really happy for him and the what's next that he's working on. Unfortunately, his leaving and his transition occurred during the time that I was out bereaving the loss of my father. So I didn't get to send him off the way that I would like to, and he's okay with that. Anyone who knows or worked with Jay, you know he's pretty low key. But I am excited to share that we have brought on a new precinct administrator, and I wanted to be sure to introduce her today. Her name is Tracy Williams, and she is not new to the Tarrant County community. She is a 2-time TCU grad. She's actually currently the president of their National Alumni Association. She and I were in Fort Worth under 40 together as well. And she just has a very deep breadth of expertise and work here in Tarrant County and literally around the globe. So Tracy, if you will stand so I can recognize you, Tracy Williams, our new precinct administrator. And that's all I have.
Welcome, Tracy.
Welcome aboard.
Glenn, the only thing I've got is we might look at our craft employees, our maintenance center, look at their pay scales and what we can do there if possible. So
I agree.
That's a great point.
they've been in the arena just like the health department the entire time. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you for your comment, and I think that's something that we definitely need to do.
And they're tremendously undervalued in our pay system.
Well, and I can just tell you, just from talking with other folks, and I know y'all have the same thing as truck drivers, you know, they're being offered a whole lot more anywhere.
Yeah.
So we've really got to watch that, and we've got to, that's why I'm just saying overall, we've got to look at our whole pay structure, I think, and figure out how we're going to remain competitive. We've got great benefits, and I tell everybody, if we can keep you for 10 years, we've hooked you, because you've looked at that TCDRS statement. And once you've looked at that TCDRS statement, it does get your attention, but sometimes we need to do a better job of making sure you look at it. But at the same time, we need to be competitive.
Yeah, because you can't take that statement to the grocery store or to the gas station.
Not until
It's nice to have.
Not until you get to be our ages, when it may be what you take to the grocery store as you go
wait.
forward from that standpoint.
I didn't laugh at that.
Yeah, I know. I saw all that laughter underneath there, but yes, I'm very appreciative of that benefit. Any other comments? JD, you got anything?
Oh, keep it rolling.
Keep her rolling. I figured that would be your comment. Okay, moving forward, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of May the 24th.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Fickett, you
Yes.
need to turn yours on. Motion passes unanimously. Proclamations. It's United Way time, finally. We had to postpone y'all, so come on forward. I see Fort Worth is represented here, you know, once
Hi,
again.
Dana.
We appreciate, you know. There was only that first year where I got snookered because I didn't realize, and as a CPA, I shouldn't have, but we've been successful ever since. Susan, take it away.
Good morning, Judge.
Morning, Susan.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come before the court this morning. I do appreciate it. And Mr. Manias, I want to thank you as well. You have a very full court and you have a very full agenda, so this time is appreciated. So, wow, you and I rode up in the elevator this morning and we were talking about, hey, we're finally doing this. And I said, let's have fun. So we're going to change the course and we're going to have some fun this morning and we're going to celebrate our employees. We have some hardworking folks here that do a lot for our giving campaigns that we do, not only through United Way, but through the food drive, through Salvation Army, through the blood drive, which we have one on Friday. So please, if you haven't signed up, please go give. But we have a lot of employees that give their time and their efforts. And so this particular day is great because we're going to celebrate them and we're going to celebrate their departmental wins. So I'm going to hopefully work this clicker, which I'm not good at. I know last year. It's up. There it is. Thank you, Lonnie. I appreciate you in the back again. This is a day of thanks. So today, let's have some fun and celebrate our employees. As you pointed out, we do have two special guests with us today. We have Faye Ballou, the Senior Vice President of Community Investment with United Way. She has been our rep for many, many years, and we're thankful for her. And Dana Bergdorf, the Assistant City Manager for the City of Fort Worth. Thanks. It's good to see you, too. So, we had a theme this year, and our theme was opportunity for all of Tarrant County, and you can kind of see by the small slides how we focused on this opportunity for all of Tarrant County is we sent out emails, we had posters, we had flyers, we passed out information that showcased different organizations that United Way that they focus on and that impact our community. We wanted our employees to know where their dollars were being spent. And up here are some of those organizations like Mission United, which works with veterans, Safe Haven. You are seeing the Center for Transforming Lives. We wanted to show you that when you donated to United Way, your dollars were working hard. And they were working hard for children, for veterans, for families, for senior citizens, that they were providing opportunities out of poverty and out of educational restrictions so that they could succeed in life. So. And I know what we're really here to know is how we did and who won. So our total dollars raised this year, we raised $71,871.14. And that gives us a per capita of $17.24. I'm going to pull this down. I'm a little short. So, who won? What did we do? We are honoring the top 3 departments this year, but we've added a special category. We brought back our Leadership Spirit Award, so we're going to give out 3 additional awards in regards to the top 3 departments with the top 3 winners. So I'm going to ask Myra to come on up, and we're going to go with our first award. Our first award is the increase over last year, and to be eligible for this award, you had to have a minimum campaign of $1,000 for the year previous. So our in third place goes to Juvenile Services, and they did 26% over last year. And I'm going to take the time that this is the little engine that could. So Juvenile Services, come on up, because are y'all here? I know y'all. Yes, I know they're here, because every year these folks have fun with this campaign, and I encourage all departments. They do amazing work. They do pumpkin decorations. They do door decorations. I know y'all have had y'all played bingo this year. Y'all have done Family Feud. They just do some crazy stuff out there, and they raise money, and they're always just right there. So this award, I'm bragging on you guys. I'm totally bragging on you guys. Is well deserved. So Sergio is going to help us with pictures. Congratulations. And in second place goes to Tarrant County Housing. You guys come on down. And you might as well stay down here. Wayne and your crew. You're going to see a lot of Tarrant County Housing. If you've read the agenda then and you've seen that, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They got the trifecta. They swept this thing. So this is one of many. Congratulations. You guys work hard and do a lot of great things out there. So let me get out of your picture. You'll be back. In first place, congratulations again, is the Tarrant County Auditor's Office. They did 47% over last year, and I don't know where Latoya, but there you go. I'm going to say boo bags. Boo bags did it. If y'all didn't buy a boo bag, shame on you. You should have bought a boo bag. That was genius, pure genius. And I know that that's what made your 47%. So congratulations. Yeah, and y'all don't go far either. Y'all can come back. So congratulations to all of our winners over the increase over last year. Y'all did a fabulous job. And I kind of got a little crazy right there. Our outstanding campaign, these are the folks that raised the most money during the campaign. So like I said, housing had the trifecta. This is their third place win. So y'all come on back down and get your picture made again. It's going to be up and down. Up and down. They did a fabulous job. I know you guys can read, but for everyone else, they did $5,550. In second place is the Tarrant County Administrator's Office, and you guys did $6,325, all because we like tamales. tamale sales. Y'all didn't even do the lunch, so think about it. Good job, you guys.
Where's the crew? There we
Wait
go.
a minute, here comes some more.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Those that are vertically challenged need to get on the front row. Hello, Lottie.
I like the way she looked back.
Regina, yeah. Regina, you stand up there. You're
And I just want to personally thank you for the tamales. My family really enjoys those at Christmas, so please keep doing those. Okay, and our first place winner for Outstanding Campaign, and this was very close. So when I put this up here, y'all are going to see how close you were. It's the Tarrant County Auditor's Office. Look at that, $6,773.69. I told you, it's boo bags. It is those boo bags. Y'all are going to have to bring those back again. We love them. Those were awesome. Our third category is per capita giving, and in third place, it goes to budget and risk management, and they are at $136.71. Are they in or are they outside? They might. I saw several of them. Or they're coming through the side door. Come on in, you guys. The ornament.
They've grown.
two people. Three maybe.
And that's through Tarrant County Ornaments. So if you don't order an ornament, shame on you. Order an ornament next year. They're great collector's items. And they'll be happy. There it is. Because they like to win, as many of us do. No. Our second place goes to the Tarrant County Administrator's Office. I hope y'all didn't go far. Y'all come on back up.
Where's everybody else? Come on out here. Did everybody go home?
I told him to get back to work.
Yeah. Lonnie didn't like my vertically challenged.
It's okay. Because it takes village, y'all. I thought we were using the same photo.
Get up there.
Yeah, that's it. Please do. Okay.
Y'all stand in the same place and they'll think it's the same picture.
You're Virginia.
And
Good
Regina will be
photos
happy.
on it. Yeah.
Congratulations. And like I mentioned, housing, just come on down. Y'all won first place. Y'all, the So if you notice, they got a first, a second, and a third. I don't know what y'all are doing out there, but y'all, I don't know if you want to share or not, but you're doing something right. You did something right this past year, so congratulations, y'all. And as I mentioned, we brought back, we've done this before in the past when we've had departments that have kind of gone above and beyond. They've done something a little bit a little bit different, a little bit out of the box, a little bit special. And we've got 3 departments that we want to take the time to recognize. They were close. They were close. And some of them are doing some kind of innovative things that we also want to share with other departments and say, hey, they're doing simple things just to help raise money for the community and help folks who are in need. So we call this the Leadership Spirit Award. And our first award that we're going to acknowledge is Tarrant County Transportation. And the reason that they got a Leadership Spirit Award is because in 2020 they raised $52. And I'm not saying that to shame them, because in 2021 they raised $1,000. And they raised $1,000 by selling popcorn. That's all they did. They also went around and sold popcorn, and it was good popcorn. I hope, and if when you got the email and they were selling popcorn and you didn't buy it, you need to buy that popcorn. It's caramel corn, cheese corn. It was fabulous, fabulous popcorn. But they went from one year for $52 to $1,000. And so we wanted to acknowledge they did something very simple. It wasn't a huge undertaking, but they raised $1,000 for United Way just in that capacity. So Tarrant County Transportation, you guys come on down and let's take a picture. The next department that we want to honor is the Tarrant County Clerk. And they are a very large department. And when we do projects like this, when we do projects like the food drive or anything that takes collecting a lot of folks, that's hard because they are spread out all over the county. And how do you get that momentum and how do you get that excitement when you've got people in all of these different buildings? Well, they didn't work harder, they worked smarter. And you know what they did? They used that online portal, that United Way online portal, and they allowed their employees to wear jeans. And they paid through the portal. And you know what they ended up doing? They ended up, and I'm going to pull my glasses down on this one right here, sorry folks. They ended up raising $4,567 through that. That is awesome. They came in 4th in our outstanding campaign with less than $1,000 behind our 3rd place winner. So they get a Leadership Spirit Award. Come on in and get a picture.
Hey, get on up there. Get on up there. Why not?
And our 3rd department that we are going to honor is Community Development. And let me also explain to you, they quadrupled their giving from 2020 to 2021. They went from $130 to $533. And I know you're saying, okay, well, that was less than $1,000. But they had brand new staff. Their director wasn't even with the county, not even 4 months when we kicked off the United Way campaign. But you know what? They rallied. They said, we're going to do this, and we're going to make a difference, and we're going to make our campaign mean something. And so I think even the gal that ran it, Angelica, I think you were brand new as well. So they handed it to the new girl, and you know what? The new girl, you made it work. Very good. Very good. So you guys come on down and get your Leadership Spirit Award.
Y'all come on up. Don't be bashful.
So I just want to say congratulations to all of our departmental winners. You guys did an outstanding job. Y'all, it was fabulous. And we appreciate very much you taking the time out to tackle this. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But you know what? I think we can show that it's a lot of fun, that a lot of our departments really thought outside of the box. They did some different activities and made it fun, and not only made it fun for their department, they made it fun for all of us. I mean, how many of us look forward to tamales? Now we're looking forward to popcorn. We want to figure out what housing is doing because they won all 3 awards. So there's some serious stuff that's going to happen this fall. I know it. I know.
Well, and I especially want to thank everybody for just finding new ways to do things, finding new ways to raise money. But more importantly, again, it's the whole cause. It's the United Way. And they do so much for our community in so many different ways and different facets of our community. They have really kind of redesigned, I would say, their response to the community's needs. And I can't thank them, Faye, and your group, for just the way you respond to the different things that we're doing or that we need in our community. It is fun. We do have fun with Fort Worth, or at least we have for the longest time. I know that Dana's going to say, okay, one of these days. But I can't tell you how much I appreciate not only what you do here for United Way, but as Susan just mentioned, you know, we had Food Bank. We've got Meals on Wheels that you're delivering. We've got a blood drive this week. We are constantly in the community, and that's second mile giving. That's kind of what I call second mile giving. That's at times when you don't have to be doing that. And I think it just speaks to the whole spirit of Tarrant County and their employees, their employee family, and the way you care for everybody else in this community, and the way it just continues to be evident in the way you treat people, in the way you serve people, and I can't thank you enough for making this the great place it is to live and to work and to raise a family. So thank you very, very much for this.
I do have a couple of more slides. We did not do the contest this year. We brought back the online auction. And Catherine, I just want to say, hey, you did a fabulous job. It's always a pleasure to work with your staffs. I cannot thank each and every one of you enough for the staff that you have on all the projects that we work on. 100%. You guys have picked some amazing people to work with you and for you, and I'm going to take this time to say thank you. And Catherine, fabulous job on this auction. You rallied the troops, you got it done, and you guys raised $11,320. That's roughly $1,400 more than what you did last year, and I'm still upset that I lost the Rod Stewart tickets. I really am. I don't know, y'all. Y'all's people did some fabulous. Yeah, there were awesome items in that auction. Great job, great job. And like I said, always a pleasure to work with your staffs. And it's fun. It's another fun thing that we do again to raise money for an amazing cause. So with that, I am done with the awards, but I do want to take the time to say thank you to you, the court, that you are always so supportive of our projects. In other words, giving us the time to come to Commissioners Court to honor our employees, through these awards, through employee recognition, through Employee Appreciation Day, supporting our blood drives, letting people be able to go and give blood, the food drive that's coming up, the Angel Tree. We can't do that without the court support. And on behalf of the 4,000 employees that work here, I am so thankful that you guys are mission-minded and that you do help us give back through the workplace. So thank you. There's just not much more I can say other than I appreciate you very, very much. And with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dana and Faye, and y'all are going to have a little fun with the city and the county. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Susan.
Whoopsie, I have one more thank you that I need to say because these people are awesome. Tarrant County's Credit Union, each departmental winner, and this is a good incentive, got a gift card from Tarrant County's Credit Union. It's in the envelope, so I did put a slide up there that said thank you to them because they're always also so supportive of what we do. So excuse me. No. There you go.
Good morning.
How are you, Faye?
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I have brought my friend.
The Michael Corleone Horse's Head
We hope not.
Award. Make him an offer he can't refuse.
This trophy, we presented it for the first time 6 years ago. And the judge has already talked about how the contest has proceeded through the years. The relationship started much before we started the rivalry and the contest between the city and county. The relationship definitely precedes, and the importance attached to that relationship and what it means to this community just goes back a long time. It's bittersweet, Judge, to be here this morning to know that this is the last time I will get to do this in terms of presenting to you. But it's no less significant and important because you've been such an incredible advocate for the people of this county and for the work that we're allowed to do for them through campaigns like the one that Tarrant County Government Offices does. As many of you know, before the pandemic, we were touching 300,000 people a year through the programs that we provide funding to. That's a lot of folks. But during the pandemic, that became upwards of 500,000 folks. That's the number of people that needed additional help because of what was happening in our county. And you were instrumental in helping us reach those people. We're on the upside, we're on the recovery side, we trust. And that is meaningful as I present this morning. Susan's already shared the numbers with you. We're very proud of those, proud of what you've been able to do and what that's going to mean through agencies that we serve and that we help fund. But we're just proud of the work we've been able to do together. We're proud that the county recognized United Way as a data source, what's going on in our communities, who needs help, what are they asking for help for, and where are they being referred to. We thank you that you considered us your partner in helping you make those decisions. We thank you that we were able to help you get PPE into the hands of organizations that needed it, and that we were able to help distribute some funding on your behalf. We look forward to whatever's in the future and whoever we're working with and keeping this campaign strong and keeping your ability to help the community through us strong. But with all that, I say this morning, one more time, congratulations to the county on winning the Community Champion Award in the Spirit Challenge between county and city.
One of these years, maybe, we'll win. I mean, maybe you make sure you come down here, because the mayors haven't been coming down here recently. And we just want to thank you for your participation, because collectively, this thing's heavy.
Yeah.
Collectively, we raise a lot of money for United Way for our community.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, we're gonna put this thing down here, because Devin won't let me encroach on her.
Nope. Better not.
You know, we've got another campaign that'll be coming up pretty soon, and I hope that we can see our numbers begin to move back up. I know the last couple of years with COVID have been tough years for everyone, but this is, as Faye just said, we've gone from serving 300,000 to over 500,000. And I just hope that as we do the campaign this year, that you will look, be appreciative, and see if maybe you can increase that giving a little bit. I plan on doing that myself. They'll have to figure out how to take it out of my retirement income in the future, or just draft it out of my bank account. But I'm still planning on being a part of the county that beats the city of Fort Worth for at least one more year. And I just want to encourage y'all. I cannot tell you how strongly I feel about the United Way and the programs and the things that they do. And I hope you'll look into your heart this next year and see if you can't maybe increase that pledge a little bit. And if you've not been able to give in the past, maybe you can just give $1 or $2 per paycheck, because that will make a difference if everybody will just try to do that. So please, as you get your United Way campaign, you can do it a number of ways. You can go straight to the website. There's a portal now where you don't have to do it through your department. You can just do it straight. And I hope you'll look at that and consider that as an opportunity as you go through this year. And with that, I'll move that we receive and file our United Way presentation.
Second.
We have motion second. Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Now we get to employee recognition. And again, as I've said before, that's one of my favorite times, although I will tell you that from a pronunciation standpoint, I can't even pronounce it right. There's going to be a challenge. I looked at the first 3 names and I said, if the rest of this month is like this, we're in big trouble. So, again, for those of y'all who are new, I'm going to call the 5 years, stand up, remain standing until I get finished with the 5 years, and then we'll go from there to the 10 years. So, with that, I'm going to start off with our 5-year employees. Zachariah Ahmed, Sheriff's Office. Pravinya Ambati, Public Health. If it sounds like it, stand up. Or if that's where you are in the alphabet, stand up. Mizrael Argyate, okay, you're going to have to just, I figure I messed up both parts of that one. Yeah, you're right, I did mess up both parts of that one. Thank you very much for being here. Lisa Arcacha, Sheriff's Office. Mary Calloway, Public Health. Austin Carmichael, Sheriff's Office. Amanda Carter, District Clerk. Benny Castro, Sheriff's Office. Dara Couch, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Brian Covington, Sheriff's Office. Deanna Frazen, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Jennifer Geogod, Sheriff's Office. Okay, I'm just, that person, okay, good, they're not here, so they didn't hear me. The rest of y'all did. Kendall Green, Sheriff's Office. Cody Lewis, Sheriff's Office. Paula McCarthy, Public Health. Della Oaks, Sheriff's Office. Sarah Shook, County Clerk.
Your names.
Robert Stout, Sheriff's Office. Carl Swindell, Constable Precinct 2. And Josephina Taylor, Housing. These are our 5-year employees. Now for our 10-year employees, Graciela Alvarado, Elections. Daniela Baez, Sheriff's Office. Alan Bain, Precinct 4. Dwight Everett, Precinct 4. Gabriela Garza, Domestic Relations Office. Daniel Gillett, Sheriff's Office. Nicholas Littlejohn, Sheriff's Office. Jonathan Lowry, Sheriff's Office. Herson Madrid Arviana, that ain't right. Sheriff's Office, is that person? Nope. Jesus Martinez, Constable Precinct 3. Cynthia McLaughlin, County Auditor's Office. Marshall Patterson, Housing. Did I come close? Yeah, I didn't come close. Thank you, Michelle. Don Plitcher, Criminal District Attorney's Office. Rennick Self, Sheriff's Office. This is a good one. Daniel Smith, Precinct 2.
Yay, Daniel.
Thank you. Marcella Zargaza, County Clerk. Did I come close? Yes. Good. These are our 10-year employees. Give them a hand. Now for our 15-year employees, Christy Barnacle, Information Technology. Travis Bowling, Sheriff's Office. Melita Douglas, Sheriff's Office. Kathy Henderson, Public Health. Kathy. Quintavas Kennan, Sheriff's Office. Curtis King, Sheriff's Office. Tina Nicholson, Domestic Relations Office. Saib Olambab, Sheriff's Office. Shannon Robinson, Juvenile Services. Gilbert Rosada, Precinct 1. Tony Shorter, Precinct 1. Augustine Thomas, Sheriff's Office. These are our 15-year employees. Thank you. Now for our 20-year employees. Sylvia Barros, Public Health. Did I get close? Yeah, was that just a little close or a Barrios? Okay, thank you. Kimberly Collins, Information Technology. Harriet Holderman, Information Technology. Rhonda Holan, Sheriff's Office. Pamela Livergood, County Clerk's Office. Letitia Sumberlin, Sheriff's Office. Tom Turpin, Sheriff's Office. And Darrell Williams, Housing. Let's give them a hand. Now for our 25 plus, I reach out and call and talk with them. Our first 25 years is Darrell Caston, the Sheriff's Office. There he is. Started off in Belknap, was at Green Bay and at the Correction Center. Now he's back at Lon Evans. His most memorable moments, he said, were his learning experiences, and he said he's had a lot of them over the years. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it was the challenges. It was, that each day was a little bit different, and it was never quite the same. He said one of the things he likes the most are the people. He said over the period of time, there's a whole lot of different people, and the way we do things is constantly changing also. Darrell, thank you so much for your 25 years of service to Tarrant County. Next is Dana George, Medical Examiner's Office. There she is. Started out in purchasing and spent about 19 years there, and then moved over to the Medical Examiner's Office, and she's an administrative assistant over there. When I asked her about her most memorable moments, she said certainly the tornado when it hit Fort Worth, also COVID-19, And she said, when I got to tell Jack I was leaving his department. And I can understand that. When I asked her what she liked most, she said it was the security of working for the county, and it was the benefits that the county offers. Dana, thank you so much for your 25 years of service to Tarrant County. Next is Vanessa Hall, Sheriff's Office, 25 years. She's a detention officer. I started out as a tech in booking, did all the paperwork at Belknap. Then I moved to the jailer's position, moved over to Corrections Center, spent some time at Lon Evans, and now is back at the Corrections Center as in the medical area. When I asked her about memorable moments, she said, well, there's so many that I can find humor in. And so, it's just someone who looks at it, very optimistically and she said, I can find humor in just about anything. She said, I'll never forget, she said, I think you've always worked the third shift. And she says, I'll never forget my first night. She said, I stepped over the threshold, and the old side of Belknap, just you look around. She said, I looked around and she says, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? She said, I was really, really scared, but it worked out. And 25 years later, it's still working out. When I asked her what she liked most, she said, when I came to the county, I was a single parent. She said, I never thought I'd be here for 25 years. She said, I was a single parent with 3 kids, and I was taking care of my mom. I needed the benefits, and I needed the pay. And the security that the county offered was what allowed me to do that. She lost a daughter, her oldest daughter, and she said that people in the sheriff's department came around me like a family and helped me make it through that very, very difficult time. Now, she's leaving the end of June. And I hope you told everybody else that. But Vanessa, we want to really thank you for the 25 years of service you've given to Tarrant County. Thank you very much. Next is Ruby Cossey, the Sheriff's Department, 25 years also. Y'all, we got a lot of people. You notice all the people that we read that have anniversaries? The Sheriff's Department this month had a whole lot of people that were celebrating anniversaries. She started again as a sheriff in the Sheriff's Office as a Tech 1, then moved over to Tech 2, and then became a jailer at the Correction Center, then Green Bay, and now is back at Belknap. When I asked her about a memorable moment, she says, I've done about everything I can do in this jail business. She said, I absolutely love the people that I've had a chance to work with and the opportunities that the work has provided and offered to me. She said, basically, the county has allowed me to take care of my kids, and she said I was able to, pay for them to go to college, and it's just been a real pleasure and really a benefit to work for the county. Ruby, thank you for your 25 years of service. Now, next is Marilyn Lee, and I don't believe she's here today. I think she's on vacation this week and wasn't going to be able to make it, but I just wanted to check. She's again with the Sheriff's office. She's on that third shift, and so if you get a chance to say thank you to Marilyn, thank her for her 25 years of service. Next is, I believe, Warren Mitchell, and he was unable to. He thought he was going to not be able to attend today, and it doesn't look like he was able to make it. Next is Anthony Olson. I believe, is Anthony here? He wasn't sure he was going to be able to make it, and I guess schedule didn't permit. Next is Mike Reagan. There's Mike. Mike started out in the sheriff's office in the corrections center. He said, I've had a chance to work all the jails. He's now working the third shift at the correction center. And he's also retiring at the end of this month. He said, he said, I have seen a lot of things. When I asked him about memorable moments, he said, I've seen a lot of things happen. He said, I do remember when I was in booking one time, he said, you know, I was talking with one of our coworkers and he was kind of sitting on a table, which wasn't something you were supposed to be doing. And a lieutenant saw him and came up and asked him if he was comfortable. And without missing a beat, I believe his response was, well, I was up until now. What he said he liked most was the people that he'd had a chance to work with and the benefits that the county offers. And again, I'll just remind you folks in that 5-year and that 10-year, look at that TCDRS statement. Find a way to, log yourself in, look at that account. It'll allow you to do some projections, and based upon those projections, you might decide you want to stay, because a lot of the people I talk with say, I was going to plan on staying about 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then I figured I'd go off and do something else, and 25 or 30 years later, here they are. So, Mike, we want to thank you very much for the 25 years of service you've given to this county. Next is Angela Franco, 30 years CSCD. Angela started in CPS and she said, I worked there, but it was heartbreaking to see some of those kids. And she said, I needed to move, and so she moved to CSCD, started out in, I guess, the Miller area in the misdemeanor unit, and is now working in victim services. And she's the only coordinator. I think she was the only coordinator in the beginning. I think still are. She said, I have had a chance to work all over CSCD. She had an opportunity to work with Judge Cummings. When I asked her what she liked most, she said her co-workers. She said they have a true commitment to what they're doing, a real passion for that. She said, I never planned to be at CSCD, as I said earlier. She said, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to help people and hopefully, again, in victim services, to put their mind at ease. I asked her what she'd been doing since the last time we talked. When I talked with her this time, most of that was from the first time we'd had a chance to talk at the 25. She said, I've had a chance to do a lot of things in CSCD. She said, I'm still working with the victims. And she said, I can't imagine doing anything else. Angela, thank you so much for your 30 years of service. Now, last was Ray Murray, 35 years in the sheriff's office, and he was looking forward to coming, but he called this morning, and his wife called this morning and said he was sick. And so she said, he's just not going to come, and my office thanked her for not coming, for not allowing him to come. But he is, so when you see Ray, again, he's working working security in the Justice Center. Thank him for his 35 years of service with the county. Total, that's 865 years of service. And you make the difference. I say this, but I could not mean it more. You are what makes Tarrant County what it is. Your passion for your job, whatever that job is, the way you treat the folks you encounter, whether it be in the jail, whether it be in the tax office, whether it be in IT, wherever it is, it's the respect that you give them, and I cannot thank you enough. We have refreshments back in 504C. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you do. And we're going to take a short recess.
drop this off. I'll be right back.
I move we receive and file the employee recognition.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. I believe we have a public hearing today.
I'm sorry, did we do consent already? Did we just do that?
No, we might go ahead and do that. Do I have a motion regarding the consent agenda?
Move approval of the consent agenda, save and accept those items that have been removed.
Second.
We have a motion to second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Public hearing?
So, Your Honor, today we have a public hearing as relates to the approval of the FY 2022 Tarrant County Housing Assistance Office Annual Agency Plan. We have representatives from Housing Services that are here to address the court. We're not going to request any action by the court this time. We'll bring it back next week for action.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Paula?
Tarrant County Housing Assistance Office served nearly 3,400 families monthly on the Section 8 program. This program includes some of our special voucher programs, the Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing, where we work with the Veteran Administration, the Family Unification, we work with Child Protective Services, and a new program called the Emergency Housing Voucher Program, where we have a partnership with Tarrant County Homeless Coalition. That program was extremely successful this year. We was awarded additional vouchers in May to serve more families that are homeless. We remain a high performer for 14 consecutive years. Our Family Self-Sufficiency Program graduated 35 families. One of them received a degree in engineering and another one in business, and 2 people purchased homes. We basically pay out about $27 million annually to Tarrant County landlords. We currently have about 7,000 families on our wait list. Our Section 8 wait list has been closed since 2017, and I don't think I'm going to open it again probably another 4 years. We have about 600 private landlords that we work with. HUD has given us additional funds to help families find units. That's some of our biggest challenge right now. There is not a lot of affordable units in Tarrant County, and prices are skyrocketing. Over the last couple of years, we are noticing a trend that some landlords do not want to accept Section 8 vouchers because the open market is much easier to get and they can raise the prices as they want, and they don't have much red tape through the process. HUD is providing additional funds to staffing because we're spending more time helping families find units, taking them to places, talking to landlords, and giving them incentive funds to try to take some of our families. The voucher holder right now is keeping a voucher for about 115 days. Prior to COVID and the high rental market, it was about 75 days. So families are struggling to pay their rent. We plan to project base up to 200 vouchers. That will help us get more guarantees that our families have places to go. Like has been mentioned, we don't want any court action at this time. We just like to have a public hearing.
At this time, I'll open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone here willing or wanting to address this issue? There appearing to be none, then I'll close the public hearing. I want to thank y'all for what you're doing. I know that we're looking through our ARPA funds at trying to also address this issue with regards to affordable housing and other things. And I know that there's a committee that we have that is looking at not just affordable housing, but all housing that would be used to hopefully help our homeless population and those folks who are near or could very easily be homeless without some assistance, temporary assistance. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Members of the court, we can now go to the briefing section. The first one we're going to take up is item B, which is the tax abatement for Deloitte University expansion to the south. Is here to address the court at this time.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Megan.
So very quickly, I'm going to give a real brief overview before I ask Deloitte to come up. So today we have before you a briefing item to consider a potential tax abatement request from Deloitte LLP for the next phase in the Deloitte University, also known as the DU campus expansion. So just a quick history. Globally, Deloitte is the largest professional services firm in the world, providing audit, tax, consulting, and financial advisory services for clients. DU serves as a central training and leadership development and innovation center for new hires, senior leadership, and key public private leaders. The initial Deloitte University development was approved for tax abatement by the county back in 2008, and that brought online a 700,000 square foot facility that includes, among other things, 800 guest rooms, dining venues, conference spaces, and a business center. That 10-year tax abatement for the initial campus expires this year and will bring approximately $130 million back onto the tax roll. Deloitte projects spending for the campus expansion to exceed $100 million. And so to cap it over for us, Deloitte is requesting the county assistance that was equal to the initial 2008 abatement, which was a maximum of 75% from the county on new and real personal property, for 10 years, beginning with a base abatement of 55%, and the town of Westlake has agreed to an economic incentive package that includes tax abatement along with other tax incentives. The hospital district is not being asked to participate in this, and the expansion is planned to commence in 2023 with planned completion around 2026. So today we have several people here from Deloitte, and I'm going to ask John Casey to come up and start us off.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Good morning,
Hi.
John.
Good morning, Judge Whitley, Commissioner Brooks, Commissioner Allen, Commissioner Fickus, Commissioner Johnson. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you this morning. I think you'll see we have a very exciting project for you to consider. My name is John Casey. I'm a senior manager in our national multi-state tax practice. I'm out of Chicago. Very inspiring to be
We've
here
got
this
homes
morning.
down here.
Well, very inspiring to be here this morning with all the dedicated staff and all the giving that's going on in Tarrant County. I think it's one more reason that I need to convince my wife to consider Tarrant County, because I'd be here already if it wasn't.
Wait till about January and put her on
I
the
know. It's
Miracle Mile right there with that wind coming off the lake.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, she's the youngest of 7. There's 25 grandkids, so I've got an uphill battle, but who knows?
You're right.
She
You're
might send me
right.
down here by myself. So really appreciate the time and the opportunity. As Megan, and we really want to thank Megan and Lisa for their cooperation in getting us to this point. They've been absolutely fantastic to work with. As Megan said, we are the largest professional services firm in the world. We have approximately 350,000 employees worldwide. We provide services in 150 different countries, and we've been doing that for over 175 years.
Where I'm burned up, you're almost under my finger.
Keep going. He didn't realize he's not muted.
Okay. As Megan mentioned, our services include audit, insurance, tax, consulting, and risk and financial advisory. But at the end of the day, our firm is about our people. Our culture is about inclusion, collaboration, performance, and opportunity. And Deloitte University is the heartbeat of our organization, as Heidi and Stephen will tell you here in a couple minutes. And really, this effort is a doubling down of Tarrant County. We've looked at other locations for where this investment could go. And we're back here before you in front of Tarrant County. So Stephen will get a little bit more into the details of the project, but we really appreciate our opportunity. I'll be back towards the end of the presentation. But I do want to introduce Heidi Soltis-Berner, who leads our real estate team in Deloitte University.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Heidi.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. I echo John's comments. Thank you for having us. So I must start with, it was lovely to sit here and listen to the recognition, the leadership recognition, and celebrating those that have been part of Tarrant County for so long. I have been with Deloitte 28 and a half years. So Judge Whitley, when I hit 30, I'm gonna call you so you can say nice words about me. You do such a nice job. So as John said, I wanted to share with you just a quick synopsis of Deloitte University. So as you heard Megan say, we launched Deloitte University in 2011, and we did a search around the country, as you would expect, landed here, and we couldn't be happier, almost 11 years later. My journey with Deloitte brought me to the DFW Metroplex back in 2001, and I had the privilege of stepping in to lead Deloitte University in 2016. It's been quite the 6 years, as we know, especially the last couple of years. But as you see here on the slide, a couple of things I want to call out to you. We are here to develop the world's best leaders from all over the world. In any given year, we will bring 65 to 70,000 people through our doors. We impact our people, our clients, and our communities. And since 2013, we've had 75% of the Fortune 500 companies through our door and 96% of the Fortune 100 companies through our door. Now, some of those numbers can scare you because you think traffic, volume, many things, but sustainability is so important to us. So that was something that we strive for. We actually bring people on larger utility vehicles to and from the campus because we didn't want to ask for a parking lot that housed 65,000 cars. That would be a little ridiculous for us going forward. So here we are, almost 11 years later, and the success of Deloitte University has surpassed what we even expected. As Megan said, we can bring 800 people to stay on site with us on any given night. For the last 4 years, take out our minor 18-month pause for COVID, we are busting at the seams, and expanding is needed for us in order to continue to drive our growth, our impact on the community, and our impact on the clients. And it was very fitting to hear the United Way recognition. This Friday for Deloitte as an organization, we have something we refer to as Impact Day. We do it around the country and in many cases around the world. And something that we put in place at Deloitte University is a veterans program. Every year we bring in about 250 to 500 veterans that are wanting to enter the workforce. We are not trying to hire them, albeit we would love to hire them, but our goal is to develop them. So it goes with our purpose of what we're doing. We will be doing that this Friday and this weekend. And the last fact I will share with you as part of the community, we've also stood up, beginning back in 2015, a program known as Courageous Principals. We impact public school vice principals, principals, and superintendents. We bring them from all over the country. And since inception of this program, for development of those leaders, we have helped impact over 1 million students around the country. So those are just a few snippets of what we invest in and how we develop our people, and you see the significant growth that we have. So thank you for your time, and I'm going to turn it over to Stephen Seidel, who's actually going to take you through our plans. Thank you.
Morning, Stephen.
Hey.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. What an exciting day I'd like to echo John and Heidi's comments. It's what a great day to be here and to see public service. And some of you know I spent 15 years in public service before going over to the dark side, and I still have a special place in my heart for this because it takes a special kind of person. It takes a certain kind of servant leader, and every job has value. And so it's great to hear those stories shared today and see that recognition happen, and that you make time to make those recognitions possible. Heidi's comments are actually what are actually most important. Deloitte University is the heartbeat of our firm. It is where we get to talk about our culture, our priorities, bring in our people, talk, connect. It's about creating collisions with our folks from all over the country and all over the world. What I get to talk about really is how do we do that? And so this is an aerial photo of what exists today, and you can kind of see in the bottom right-hand corner there is another structure there we call the barn, which is kind of an entertainment, food and beverage outlet. But that building represents about 700,000 square feet. We were originally on 107 acres, and we purchased an additional 117 acres from Hillwood, which is the property kind of to that's actually south and east there. So we'll go to the next slide. And I specifically included this slide because I think it helps set the stage and the story for what we're attempting to do to accomplish all those collisions and trying to instill diversity, inclusion, and well-being and sustainability. And on the left-hand side, we have some sustainability facts. Our firm is extremely committed to our environment and environmental stewardship, and we're trying to be net neutral by 2030. What we have to do here is be a big part of that. And this slide shows a lot of our commitment for our property. Our property is special. How often can you be 15 minutes from the 4th busiest airport in the world, and you can hear cows calling at the end of the day? It's a really cool experience, and it's a retreat setting, and it's just gorgeous, and we want to preserve that. And so what this shows is sort of that central prairie. And we're part of the Blackland Prairie. We're part of the Eastern Cross Timbers. And the Blackland Prairie is one of the most endangered ecosystems in the United States today. There's less than 1% left. We should do our part. And as we walk this property, we have these two amazing hills. It's kind of with that valley through the middle. And we would like to preserve that, and what we like to say, the long view. And we hiked up there yesterday afternoon with a couple people who hadn't done it, and you're looking across, and it's just gorgeous. And if you look the other way, you can see Charles Schwab's in the distance, and if we didn't have one other hill, we'd be able to see downtown Fort Worth from there. It's just a really beautiful piece of property, and we want to preserve it. We want to do our part as much as we possibly can while accomplishing our goals of developing our people, developing our clients, bringing in special programs like Heidi mentioned, like CORE and Courageous Principles. And so then we have this learning loop, and this is kind of the build around these hills and trying to connect them and create an ecosystem. And then finally, we have the lowlands. We're exploring LEED Platinum, which hospitality is a big part of what we do. LEED Platinum is not a common occurrence in the hospitality industry. And so we're exploring that, and it comes with a fairly substantial price tag. LEED Gold is our existing facility, and we will be committed to at least LEED Gold, but we're hopeful for LEED Platinum. We're also looking at WELL Platinum certification, so the well-being aspect of things. This plan also shows over 2,000 trees planted. That's a lot of trees. And that will be, we'll stage that over a period of time, but 2,000 additional trees, which does not go into LEED Platinum. That is over and above what that certification would call for. But again, it's a commitment to our environment. It's a commitment to our property, restoring our property to kind of that native habitat for our ecosystem. And just general preservation of open space. So you guys are getting a preview, and I was joking with Commissioner Fickus and some of the staff that you are seeing more than many people within Deloitte have seen. And this plan we're just going through the master plan process at the moment, and we're still fine-tuning, but we're starting to nail down where a lot of these new facilities will go. This slide represents 8 new structures, and we're targeting long-term, hopefully 2 phases. So we would be doing phase 1. And how that kind of shakes out is still to be determined over the next few weeks and months. But it will be a substantial investment on our part during phase 1. And then hopefully phase 2 would follow shortly after we've kind of grown into this next kind of the phase 1 aspect of things. You know, again, this represents multiple hotel rooms, classrooms, ballroom, food and beverage outlets, entertainment venues, trails, sidewalks, trees, sporting fields. It's everything. And this is our commitment. This is, you know, what I like to say, this is a generational commitment. The intent of this facility is to live beyond my lifetime, live beyond the lifetimes of the folks in this room. That we are committed to Tarrant County. We're committed to our region, our community, and we're trying to make this not just it's our home. It's our cultural home. And, you know, when I joined the firm, I knew one person. And they said, number one, the firm is enormous. And since that time, we've doubled in size. But the firm is small. And part of the reason the firm is small is because of the opportunity to create connections. And the other thing is that there's 2 things that places happen within Deloitte. One is 30 Rock, which is our headquarters, and Deloitte University. And you're right there as part of it. And it's a blessing and an opportunity every single day that I walk through those doors to be able to serve our people so that they can go to their communities as a better individual to serve their communities, serve their clients, become better people. This is not about what is the best tax code. It's not learning what's the latest update so you can, you know, really fine-tune those Excel skills. This is about changing your mind. This is about changing you as an individual to be better, so that when you leave the doors, you're a better individual. With that, I'm going to turn it over to John Casey again to kind of wrap up and give you some additional information.
We'd love to have 30 Rock down here, too.
Oh.
We're thrilled. We're thrilled to be able to give Deloitte employees a break from 30 Rock.
Thanks. This is our last slide. And the one thing I would say, I've been with Deloitte for about 7 years. I've been to Deloitte University 3 times, and it's a place that I wish I could go back twice, 3 times a year. Unfortunately, we don't have the space to do it. So next week we have a leadership conference, and it's in Las Vegas, unfortunately. But when we come here, it just as an employee, from an employee's perspective, it's a very special place. Bumping into people that you wouldn't normally be, seeing them on Zoom. I mean, it's just a completely different atmosphere, and I look forward to coming back, especially with the new developments we're talking about today. A little bit more, kind of in the weeds, you know, we're expecting to hire a minimum of 25 jobs. We're going to retain the 455 jobs that are currently at Deloitte University. The new jobs will be averaging about $90,000 in pay, and then, you know, we've got our own commitments with respect to diversity and inclusion, very big part of our culture, as well as utilizing DBE contractors. That's, you know, part of our RFP when we go out to our contractors. That's an important piece as well. Healthcare and benefits, we provided a reasonable cost for our employees and all the employees that are at Deloitte University, and they're offered to all employees within the university. We just wanted to make sure that that was one important aspect that we wanted to share. That's all we have in terms of the presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have, whether it be this morning or in a follow-up. I know a couple of you have been out to the university, and I think there's a couple more that are going to be going in the near future, so we're always willing to host and have you there.
I know you said you're looking at the LEED certification. Some of us have recently toured the Sinclair Hotel, which is all LED. You might, if you haven't looked at that technology, you might.
Is that in your budget, Stephen? Looking at
Yes.
There you go.
I do have a few questions and a comment. First is for the healthcare and the other benefits. I know you mentioned all Deloitte University positions. Just want to make sure that that does include the support personnel
It
as
does,
well?
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
great. And then this question may be for Stephen, because he mentioned hiking, which I love hiking. And I'm curious, like, what is the elevation gain that you all have in your space out there?
It's pretty substantial. We're not the highest point in Tarrant County. That's,
Yeah.
Towards the Parker County line out
Yeah.
west. But our highest point, I believe, is 7, you're going to have to forgive me, but I think it's like 720. And our lowest is like 620. So we've got 100 feet of elevation depending on the property.
Yeah.
Our existing facility actually rests in a valley there. There's a stream that it runs there down to Turner Lake and ultimately runs into Lake Grapevine. So we were originally saddled kind of in this really nice, beautiful valley. Between that and the property next door that we acquired is a substantial gain. It's 60, 70 feet higher over there, and then you kind of get these hilltops. And we don't want to build on those hilltops, and that's what we've talked to the town about, because they have a vested interest in preserving kind of those iconic hills. We do too. And so how can we best develop this property and be a good steward? So the hiking piece is, yes, that's something that we're hearing from our people. They want to be outside more. They want to hike. And a lot of people are like, well, it's hot. I'm like, yeah, but if you want to be out in nature, we're going to give you the opportunity to do that.
No, I think that's huge. And somewhat on that sustainability front, Commissioner Brooks and I, along with Commissioner Daniels out of Dallas County, co-chair the North Texas Electric Vehicle Compact. We would love to, I don't know if we reached out to you with our first advisory meeting we had a few weeks ago, but we would love to have someone on your team participate in that, given the work that you are doing and that you're such a large employer in our county.
Absolutely. Have the appropriate person reach out to me, and we will try to find a way to have those discussions with you guys.
Okay.
I think, we've talked about autonomous vehicles. How do we shuttle people? We obviously want people to walk, and that technology is emerging every single day. And so we're trying to be soothsayers and predict what's out there in 3 and 4 years, and it's challenging. And there's so much opportunity there, not just with electric vehicles, but autonomous vehicles, and what can we do, like, all together. So very holistic kind of view.
Well, Ivana No, who's on my team, she'll connect with you and get your card.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
So we will do what we customarily do. We'll have the
30 days.
30-day posting on the 14th agenda. We'll wait that 30-day period, and we'll bring this back on July 19th for approval.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
If you
Thanks,
haven't had
ma'am.
an opportunity to visit,
Oh, yeah.
it'll blow you away.
I haven't. I'm
If-
glad you mentioned that.
If you'd like to do that, reach out and I'll get you
Yeah.
set
I've
up
got
with
one
you.
scheduled.
Yes, you do.
Okay,
You
I'd
can
love to
come.
do that. Okay, yeah, that works. Thank you for mentioning that, Commissioner Fickes.
It's something to see.
Okay, members of court, we can now go to the second briefing item, which is item A. This is the current and emerging health issues. Mr. Tenasia is here to address the court at this time.
Morning, Vinny.
Hey, Benny.
And let them load those slide decks.
Yes. And actually, I was going to cover an emerging health issue that's not on the slides. No secret, the heat is on. And our health department, other than infectious diseases, we do a few other things, including surveillance on heat-related injuries and illnesses. So we're actually seeing a spike in ED visits. And again, just heat-related stuff, about 44% is heat exhaustion, which is very preventable. So a couple of key things to talk about. I mean, the weather over the next week or two is going to be super hot. So what people need to do is take breaks when they're outside in the heat. Make sure you come into a cooled building or a cooled vehicle if you're out there working. Drink a lot of fluids. Water. Water's the best thing, but things like Gatorade and all those type of drinks do help. Sugary drinks tend to dehydrate you. Alcoholic drinks, cold beer, cold wine coolers, absolute no. They will dehydrate you. So those type of things. I mean, you can do those in the evening when you're at home and not out in the heat. But, while you're out in the heat, we recommend not drinking alcohol because it's going to further dehydrate. So those are some key points, but the main thing remains give your body a break from the heat, especially if you're out in the yard working. People kind of tend to think, oh, I'm just at home and I'm in the backyard putzing around. Yeah, that's where we get in trouble. So that's that, and as the slides load up, I'm going to cover.
Let me see that.
Yes, sir. Oh, it works. You had the magic touch. All right. Oops, I went too fast. Single slide. So current issues that we've been dealing with for the last 2 years or so is COVID, and it is starting to perk back up. So let me put that in perspective. We're still at a low in Tarrant County, which is great. I mean, that's been the case for the last almost 10, 12 weeks. Great news. But we're starting to see definite turns in the data. The biggest indicator of that is the case rate. It's starting to go up. But we're at the low, we were at 15 per 100,000 to now we're at 89 per 100,000. So we've come a long way. And there's a threshold that got drawn at 200 cases per 100,000, and we're approaching that. Texas data is making a turn. We don't put positivity rate here, but it's starting to get pretty high. We're above the 15% mark. Nationally, as a country, we're in a new wave of COVID. Over 100,000 cases a day are being reported. And if y'all remember this map, a few weeks ago I showed you it was kind of lit up in the Northeast and Midwest, but now you can see the entire country is starting to see increased activity. Florida's got it, western half of the country's got it, southern Texas, eastern Texas. So we're starting to see activity pop up in a lot of different areas. Hospitalizations in Tarrant County are still low. At the real low a few weeks ago, we were at about 30 people in the hospital. Now we're in the 60s, so it's not too bad. But as you know, they lag after the case counts start to increase. And there's a little, circle I drew on the hospitalizations chart as well. New COVID admissions are on the rise again, so that's an uptrend. And then another indicator that doesn't go into this whole community level about low, medium, high, it's the COVID-like illness. It's the blue line on the top right-hand corner. There's a red arrow pointing the trend. We're certainly in an uptrend. That's the early warning indicator. So all of these things combined, it makes sure that we understand that we still need to be watchful. COVID is still around. It's not disappeared. Even though it felt like it for a while, everybody relaxed. We need to be mindful that there are some precautions we need to take. Biggest one being, if you haven't taken your booster dose, call your healthcare provider or check with the health department or a pharmacy. They can all look up your information and get your booster dose done, especially if there's travel involved and you're going 2 weeks before travel, get your booster dose. That way you're covered as you're going. If you're taking a plane, train, bus, cruise, whatever the case may be, try to wear your mask, because again, crowded places, tend to bring more disease activity, so we need to make sure the masks are back on those type of scenarios. It's always a good practice to do that. Other than that, again, we're still at a low, so enjoy the summer that we have, because we could be in for a rough fall for all we know, or late into summer we could see a surge here in Tarrant County as well. But things aren't looking very promising that we're going to hold the low. I think we're inching towards a medium over the next few weeks if the trend doesn't turn.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Is this resurgence the result of a new variant, or is it just that people are less cautious, so the disease is taking off again?
So both. Nationally, and especially in the Northeast and the Midwest, there's a new variant, a BA4 and a BA5, that's causing a lot of cases. But it's combined with the relaxation of all the public health measures all across the country. So both are having an impact. Texas seems to be sort of behind all of that, which is good. And the reason is we haven't really had a lot of BA4, BA5. Our issue is the Omicron was the BA2, and then we have a sublineage of that, BA 2.1, 2.1, or something of that sort. That one's sort of taking off. Almost half of the cases in Texas are that sublineage of Omicron. But since we had a huge spike of Omicron, simply we're doing okay. So that's where we are. But the relaxation of public health measures combined with some new variants emerging, both are causing that upward pressure in the trend. But there's good news. I mean, we've got oral antivirals that are easily available. Paxlovid is available at pharmacies. Some molnupiravir. There's a preventive that came out. I forget the name. It'll come to me eventually. Evusheld, I think. In limited circumstances, that's being prescribed. And then, of course, there's new developments on the vaccine front. We had kids that were 5 and older. They were approved for a booster shot. That happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. I forget the exact date. But then upcoming next week, there's evaluation with the FDA related to kids that are 6 months and older. So 6 months to 5 years have not had a vaccine yet. And that's sort of our last group remaining. So if these vaccines get approved, those young kids who end up in daycares and early school age years, they will have the protection that's needed. And then 4th vaccine is heading for a potential approval, Novavax. It's a different type of vaccine. It makes production a lot easier. It's a protein subunit. We've seen those vaccines for hepatitis B and many other illnesses. So we'll see what the data shows, because full evaluation is going to be done by the FDA and then later on by the CDC. So we'll find out what the details are. But the tool belt is getting full with all the tools that we need to fight off an illness. So that's there. So that's about the current illness.
Before you move off of COVID, it seems like I'm hearing more and more people talk about having long COVID. Does our team do surveillance for that, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so we're starting to delve into some of that. A lot of that is still considered research, and a lot of our grant funds don't allow for that. But we are talking to people, doing surveys and asking about any long-term impacts of COVID and all those kind of things. But it is nationally become a real problem. About 1 in 3 people who've had COVID are reporting long COVID symptoms of some kind. And again, it remains to be seen how much of an impact it has, but we're particularly concerned about cardiac side effects. People are reporting arrhythmias and some other issues. So, more to come on COVID-related issues. But it is, in the national circles, becoming a big public health discussion about long COVID.
Sure. Okay.
And then another emerging issue that we talked about, monkeypox, is still on the radar. There's been some more developments. It's spread to 23 countries. The current outbreak has had about 257 or so confirmed cases reported. 21 of those have been reported in the U.S. and 11 states. So far, 0 in Texas. But talking to DSHS and on being on various calls, there's been 20-plus people that are evaluated. So it's a matter of time. If we find one in Texas, I think we'll probably have one, hopefully. I mean, I don't want it here, but the way this is going, we're going to probably see some cases occur. But we're having discussions with our healthcare partners. We send out a health alert, what to look for, how to have this differential in mind, what are the current differences. So just to kind of back up, typically, and I know you asked last time, how did the monkeypox name sort of evolve? In the 1950s, they were doing some research. They had macaques that are a type of monkey in labs, and that's where they found it, and that's how the name stuck. But the actual reservoir, the animal reservoir, is not known, but it can be found in various rodents. 2003, we had a big outbreak in the Midwest related to prairie dogs. It can be found in squirrels, rats, all those types of things. Good news is generally not in the United States. It's not a disease that we typically have here occurring naturally. So our cases are mostly imported in humans, or back in 2003, imported prairie dogs. So current outbreak, though, is more of a human-to-human spread, close personal contact, including sexual contact. So the presentation is a little different. They're finding differential with STDs in general. So we've sent out those health alerts to healthcare providers to make them more mindful that there's going to be differences in presentation. And we've had discussions on how to evaluate and what things are needed. Our lab should be able to do the test. So that's good news that we have a local resource available here. So that's all I have on monkeypox, unless you have any questions on any of these. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Benny.
Thanks, Benny.
Okay, members reported, we can now go to the administrator section on item 1. This is a standing item. We're requesting that the Commissioners Court receive and file the Tarrant County COVID-19 recovery report, which was dated June 7th, is for a period of May 31st through June 6th.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes
Russell is
unanimously.
going to do item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Manias. Good afternoon, Judge and Commissioners.
Hi, Russell.
Good afternoon.
Quickly on item number 2, we're asking for 2 court action items. One, which we'll do first, is adopt changes to the fiscal recovery fund budget. So what we're doing, the U.S. Treasury allows for a specific type of employee, which we are reflecting in this budget, we are taking the administrative capacity that the court has approved in previous budgets and positions in the administrator's office, budget, audit, purchasing, and other like programs, and wrapping them into this, what we're calling the FRF workforce. So this is not, we're reprogramming funds from your existing programmed budget. So if you see on the first page, the bottom of the column, the second column from the right, it has a 0 fiscal impact because, again, we're reprogramming budgets. And then also we're asking 2 new projects to be created, both for Texas AgriLife. One is in reference to a STEM-related education where we will work with AgriLife to purchase robotics packages to work with Title I schools. And then the second is a healthy community food program, looking at community gardens, eating healthy and healthy living. So again, we're repurposing money, but we are seeking approval of this budget amendment.
Move approval of items A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, we can now go to item number 3, requesting that the court approve a change order to the agreement between Tarrant County and the National Center for State Courts for consulting services related to felony and misdemeanor case flow management.
What's the background on this?
I'm sorry.
What's the background on this?
So we had originally entered into an agreement with the National Center to work with our felony courts. And what this would do would expand it to our county criminal courts.
Oh, okay. Very good.
But we're not seeing much of an impact on our felony court caseloads. What's the connection?
So probably 20 years ago, maybe not quite 20 years ago, we engaged the National Center to help us with what we call the Rocket Docket. It's a way that courts manage the flow of cases through their courts. We have new judges now, and so this is basically a repeat of that, maybe with some improvements. Right now, we're still in the early stages of this, and we hope to see that expedited case movement once they've completed their training.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, on item number 4, we're requesting that the court approve and concur with actions of the Hospital District Board of Managers and to approve the design build agreement between Tarrant County Hospital District doing business as JPS Health Network and Burn Post 1, a joint venture for the JPS Medical Home Southwest.
Move approval, and that's Burn Post L.
Yes, it is.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the court, the next 2 items deal with the medical examiner's office, and Dr. Crowns is here to answer any questions you may have. You might recall that we have provided vehicles with lights and sirens for his department, his investigators. We've asked him to put together a vehicle policy and the use of those vehicles. That is in your court communication. We're now asking that the Commissioners Court adopt the vehicle policy for the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes
And
unanimously.
then finally, members of court, on item number 6, again, this is with the medical examiner's office. Every 2 years, we adjust our fees as it relates to activities within the ME's office. What we're requesting is that the Commissioners Court adopt a new fee schedule that's been provided to you in your court communication. One thing that we've asked Dr. Crowns to do as he's prepared this is to make sure that the cost that we charge actually, or the amount of money that we charge covers the cost of these services. We've done that. Also, Dr. Crowns wanted to move forward with this because this is going to be effective October 1, 2022, and that'll allow our municipalities and other any other jurisdictions that utilize our facilities to include that in their budgets. And we're asking approval of the fee schedule.
Move for approval.
Second, and I have a comment. It looks like in the description of the items that marijuana is misspelled. I'll probably get some jokes for that, but 2 different items. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
I do see that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say a word.
We'll make sure that we correct that aspect. Dr. Crowns comes from Austin. I mean,
Okay.
There it is.
He ought to be very familiar with the spelling of that down in Austin.
Where did you go to school?
Hi, Dr. Crowns. How are you?
Now, he's one of them Kansas boys. He probably doesn't have a clue as to how to spell it from Kansas standpoint.
Oh, come on, Judge.
Texas State.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
None for
Pertinent
me.
discussion?
They use that
Please vote.
spelling bee.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tidwell?
We have one item for the Commissioners Court to consider this morning, and that is to receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the period ended March of 2022.
Move for approval.
Second.
Or, I'm sorry, move to receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Ange?
Move to receive and file a personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Bring that back down out of the stratosphere.
The
We have
stratosphere.
3 additional items for you this afternoon, good afternoon. We have 2 out-of-class pay extensions for the county clerk's office. This is for their civil courts manager position as well as their assistant manager of intake and indexing positions. These would be effective on June 11th through September 9th or earlier if those positions are filled. There is a cost to this, but the cost should be completely offset by salary savings due to those vacancies.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our next item is a waiver of terminal benefits for the district clerk's office. This is for their registry funds collections manager and would be effective July 1st. That individual is leaving county service with 400 hours of vacation. The net cost to the general fund would be approximately $19,200.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Our last item is the item that we pulled off the consent agenda. This is the approval of departmental reorganizations for the constable's offices and ME's office. These would be, reorganizations would be effective October 1st. So the action that we're requesting you do today is simply review the reorg that's being requested. We're not asking for any approvals of actual specific reclassifications. It is simply that there are significant changes in these departments and that we want you to be aware of those before we proceed with our job evaluation committee reviews. I can go into details if you'd like.
What you said, what are we being asked to do today?
Simply review the positions that are here for reclassification. We're not asking you to approve any grades or any money that goes with it. Just
So this is not an action item?
It is an action item just for the reorgs to move forward.
Oh, okay. I'm fine with that. Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Melissa? Good morning, or afternoon, I guess.
I'm Melissa.
We have 8 items for your consideration this morning. The first item is an award recommendation regarding RFP number 2022-08. This is a new contract, awarding to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors per terms of the contract.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And the second item is regarding RFP, also award recommendation regarding RFP number 2022-116. This is our annual contract for employee drug and alcohol testing, awarding to the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors per contract terms.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The next item is also an award recommendation regarding bid number 2022-130. This is an award for sub-courthouse in Arlington renovation furniture, awarding to the various primary and secondary vendors per section, per unit price.
So I have a question on this one. I mean, we've been living through this renovation for a while, and hopefully we'll reach its conclusion pretty soon here, but how is it that we're just now doing this? Awarding the bid for the furniture? Is someone from facilities here? Maybe?
Normally what happens whenever we do these type of contracts, the purchase and acquisition of the furniture is the last item that we do. We go through a cycle of things that we go through on the renovations. Once we get to a point, I don't know exactly what the timeline is to complete that renovation.
Well, it keeps moving. That's part of the problem.
Well, and so that's why you see it at this point.
Sure.
We can make sure we get a timeline for you.
But haven't y'all already picked, hadn't you already picked it?
Yeah,
So how long ago did you pick it?
last year. I mean, I know there have been supply chain issues and things like that, but I guess I'm just thinking how much longer before this is done. And it's not just my office, obviously it affects the entire building. And a juvenile who needs to move over from Mansfield, so.
I don't know why there was a delay. We'll find that out and get
Okay.
back to you in the court.
We normally start the process as soon as we receive the specifications from the designer.
Okay. Very good.
But we're looking at,
I don't mean to pile on here, but I mean, when we renovated, and this was so many years ago that I can barely remember, but when we did the Northeast, I mean, we picked our furniture, and then once we picked it, I mean, we sent a list to you or to purchasing, and then they went out and got the bid and did it. So, I mean, unless that's changed, and that sounds like that's what you did. You picked a year ago, so you know.
Let us find out the details and get that.
Okay.
back to the court.
but the furniture should be delivered within, the longest period we have is for the office furniture for your office. And we're looking at 9 to 10 weeks for delivery on that item, those items.
But is the renovation complete now? So are you gonna be waiting on furniture?
Oh, yeah. I mean, not everything was, I mean, we repurposed quite a bit of things, but then the moving company messed it up. It's been a whole thing, Judge. So anyway, I'll just be glad when everyone has somewhere to sit and can get their work done out of the Arlington office, and also that it won't be disruptive to the customers and staff anymore. So we're getting there, Mike. Yeah.
We'll bring that back to you all.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion and a second?
No, I'll move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The fourth item is regarding bid number 2022-138. This is an award recommendation for our annual contract for rental of tables and chairs for elections administration, awarding to Business Interiors per unit price.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Skipping down to item 7, this is a contract approval for RFP number 2017-057 and RFP number 2020-054. This is our annual contract for mainframe hosting, management services, and disaster recovery services, and also for mainframe application support for information technology.
Move approval.
Second.
This is regarding the decommissioning of the mainframe
So how long is this contract going through?
through January 15, 2023.
And so the reason that we have it going that far, because we're going to be going live with court in September. And normally we have about a 90-day trailer whenever we go live to make sure that everything syncs up. And so that's why we pushed it out to January.
As long as we've got the mainframe, we've got to support it. So.
Yeah, I'm ready to, I'd like to move that back to December 31st, because I want to be the one that unplugs that damn thing.
You know it's not on site.
Well, wherever it is, I'll go to it at my expense to unplug it.
That's a deal.
Hopefully it's someplace nice. In fact, that might be my first vacation. And I'm serious, I want that thing gone. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
The next item is for contract approval regarding RFQ number 2022-050. This is approval of the audiovisual professional services used countywide, awarding to Ryston, Johnson, Hayden, and Williams Incorporated per contract terms.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And the next item is regarding RFP number 2021-079. This was an annual contract for Enterprise Digital Media Evidence Player for the Criminal District Attorney's Office. We canceled this contract last month, and so what we did was we requested approval. We requested a full refund for the amount that we paid the company. So this is just a request to approve and accept the refund checks.
Move approval.
Second. And was the refund in the full amount?
In the full amount, yes.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And the last item is approval of purchase of licenses and professional services for SAP Contract Lease Management Module for the Auditor's Office. We put this item on the agenda only because we normally would go out for bid for a project this size, but we're going to purchase the licenses off DIR and use our SAP consulting contract for the services.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I hear what you're saying, but I guess the point I would say is anytime we can piggyback, I think we ought to piggyback. We encourage, how many different cities and other governmental entities are piggybacking off us?
Over 525.
So if it's good enough for them, it ought to be good enough for us. And so I have absolutely no problem whatsoever of piggybacking, because every time we have to do an RFP, that's our personnel, our staff, and that causes us to have to look at possibly enlarging that department. And, you know, there are many cities and counties, I think, that probably don't have a purchasing department because they piggyback off everybody else. And so I certainly don't ever have a problem with anybody who wants to bring a piggyback contract before the county and us utilize that. just personal opinion. Any other discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, we can go to the Sheriff's Department. These have been removed from the consent agenda because we have an audience participation form. On the first one, we're requesting that the court approve the fiscal year 2022 MOU between Tarrant County and Pathfinders to provide reentry services for inmates released from the Tarrant County Jail.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have an audience participation. Mr. Torlan-Cassi. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge, or good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners, fellow citizens, and public employees, public servants, in fact. I signed up for these 3 specific agenda items because they involve our sheriff specifically. On the first agenda item, which is the memorandum of understanding between Tarrant County and Pathfinders, I know that public-private partnerships help implement a number of critical services in the county, and that these types of programs work for lots of governments in lots of places. But lots of governments in lots of places do not have the sheriff that we have. This is the point I have to make on this specific agenda item for the Commissioner's Court to be mindful of, because I am that canary in the coal mine. It is worthwhile to check and see if anyone who goes in and out of our jail is affiliated, like the sheriff is, with the Proud Boys, or the Oath Keepers, or the 3 Percenters. Given the national news that all 3 of these entities, these groups of seditious individuals, have been indicted on the national level for their participation in the attempt to overthrow the government, we know that the sheriff of Tarrant County is closely affiliated and has participated in events with these 3 groups. It is almost certain that we have a few of our deputies that are also members of these groups. The last thing we need is not to double check and make sure that they are not also among the folks that serve us through Pathfinders.
I have personal knowledge of the Pathfinders organization, and I vouch for and stand behind them 100%.
Thank you, Commissioner Brooks. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Members of the Court, on item number 2, we're requesting approval to approve an agency and a local assistance agreements with the cities of Euless, Fort Worth, Haltom City, Hurst, and Lake Worth, and Parker to participate in the Tarrant Regional Auto Crimes Task Force.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Torlan-Cassi.
Thank you, Judge Whitley and Commissioners. I appreciated Commissioner Brooks' comments on the Pathfinders specifically. And again, interlocal assistance and agreements between other law enforcement agencies are vital, especially when it comes to national or local emergencies or in participating in a network that helps solve auto crimes. I wanted to point out that a good parallel with this particular sheriff is that in implementing the 287G program, he built quite a bit of loyalty between himself and the leadership at nearly all of the smaller governmental entities in Tarrant County. The police chiefs across the county really like the idea that they can dispose of prisoners on the quick, which ironically helps impact jail crowding. But the worry is that now that the sheriff has attended a specific program to implement a second coup against the United States, and yeah, we have the evidence of that, sir, it is worrisome that he is building loyalty in one of the largest populated counties in the country, along with 9 other Claremont Institute fellows called Sheriff's Fellows, from last year, where he trained in order to get better at doing exactly what I'm describing. This year, there are 10 more sheriffs, all targeted at large population counties, and one of their instructions is specifically to build loyalty in networks such as other law enforcement. Now, I know for a fact that programs are necessary and vital under the regular, normal world of law enforcement and public safety. I'm just encouraging you again to be mindful that we currently have a sheriff who's up to a whole lot more than just auto crimes.
Any other discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Finally, members of the court, on item number 3, we're requesting that the court approve the Vine verification of continuing production records, statewide automated victim notification services for fiscal year 2022.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We have audience participation. Mr. Torlincasi.
Judge Whitley, same point, commissioners. In this instance, we're talking about a significant database of people who are victims, our neighbors and our friends, people who have suffered traumas in a number of ways, but it is also conveniently a database. And as you're going to see a rollout of the congressional investigation, one of the tools that the network used to build the possibility and build alliances is to tap networks that were actually publicly gathered. So here on this specific issue, we won't have this particular sheriff forever. It is definitely a political seat that he holds. I don't know what the mechanism is to build better security and better protections for the databases such as these, but I'm just encouraging you to look into that.
Any further discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Johnson? Show him absent for this particular vote. Motion passes 4-0. Are there any appointments today? Commissioner Johnson, on that last vote, did you want to vote?
Yes.
Okay, show that as unanimous. Okay, are there any appointments today? There being none, we will move on to the claims.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any discussion? Please vote. Commissioner Johnson?
Network with a man named Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams is the president of the Claremont Institute. The Claremont Institute has strategically isolated sheriffs that they want to literally train to take over their regional areas by building loyalty among law enforcement. There is a direct line that you can connect to both Ryan Williams and other board members at the Claremont Institute and Ginny Thomas and Clarence Thomas, the Supreme Court Justice. We're only days or weeks away from drawing them into the investigation on the attack of the U.S. Capitol. I say this over and over again, and I know that sometimes people think it's just nonsense or some crazy conspiracy theory, but I know that when I realized that the district attorney of Burleson, Washington, Lee, and Bastrop counties was crooked and lied before the court, I learned a lot about how difficult it is to expose the corruption and the conspiracy that can take place in government. The most troubling thing about the sheriff, I believe, is also on the seat of the County Election Commission. And if you check out the Claremont Institute, they are dead center in the middle of the persons who personally lobbied the Vice President of the United States to interrupt the Electoral College process and not validate the votes. Ryan Williams specifically, who trained our Sheriff Wayborn on how to participate in a national coup, is going to be subpoenaed by the U.S. Congress.
Next, Charles Wiedemeyer. Good morning, or good afternoon, sir.
Judge Whitley, fellow commissioners, I was here on January 11th to promote the principle that Tarrant County elections should be audited the same way as financials are audited. You may recall that conversation. You directed me to go see Hyder Garcia about that. I did. I met with Hyder, Troy Hayward. I'd say that the conversation was pretty unproductive from my point of view. I came away with the impression that our elections were not auditable by our own people, and also sensed personally that there was not a lot of enthusiasm for it. It was one of those deals where just let someone else do it. But I'm here today to give you the good news. There are ways to audit our elections much like financials were audited, and I know this speaks to you, Judge Whitley. And my opinion is that Tarrant County basically has the tools to do this now. But the big deal is it requires the commitment and the will to do it. Commitment and will. And personally, I prefer that we have paper ballots hand counted at the precinct level. I think that's where we need to be. But in the meantime, I also believe in doing the very best you can with what you have and doing it now. The best you can with what you have and do it now. And that leads us to an analysis of what we have going for us. We have many things going for us in order to do this. First of all, our election administrator, Hyder Garcia, is uniquely qualified to organize and lead an audit. He has 18 years of experience in the field. He's a very intelligent man. He has excellent leadership and organizational skills. I've observed them, and you have too. And he also enjoys strong support in the community. Lots of tools there that can be turned for good to produce benefits for all of us. Also, I've learned that there are systems that utilize an interface with our equipment and our systems and our people, and they can do it in an expeditious way. It also requires us to orient our techniques, our procedures, so that it fits. It doesn't require any compromise. It just requires the fit, as you well know. And then when we do this, it lends itself to outside independent auditors stepping in and verifying or checking the audit whenever we see it needed. Our people do the right thing. Independent folks, we let the auditors go too quick here today, but independent folks come in and do the job. Now, I think you know that there's not going to be not going to be any rest until we get this satisfied. Voting is private, but counting should be public. We're tired of verbal assurances from the people who control the election. We want independent verification. Let's see some strong data transparency and openness, and you all can do it. I beg you to do it. I'll deliver a letter to Mr. Manius in a couple of days outlining this thing and requesting some principles going forward. Thank you.
As you're aware, we cannot address the matter because it wasn't on
I
our agenda
understand.
today.
I'll do it in the letter.
Thank you, sir. That concludes our audience participation. With that, we will recess our open meeting, proceed to close to discuss items exempt under Section 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code.
And I would.
My husband's dream is to have.
But I've heard.
You were accurate and it's like, let's just, what it happened. Oh, okay. Yeah. She chopped her up.
That's okay. I did one in the University of Texas. I remember they were saying compliment. And this one dude was, he was the mechanical.
Next year we are going to.
And he was the other guy.
Or one is doing applications.
The first. Oh, wow.
So.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, so
He was, I guess.
Almost over it. But I, yeah, but went and read.
He was.
Because we're gonna try to do, yeah. Travel agents trying to set it up to where it's like a Disney. I agree, and I know that feeling. So she booked all of our little restaurants to go see everything, down to the T. And we're trying to decide if we wanna like. Go beach house somewhere, so take a break. That, and do something else. Sometimes that's like what you're like. You know? I'm banking on that anyway. You're funny.
I hope.
Start you will show up the same way to do those other ones. I gotta babysit it unless she shows, but I will. We just have to. Yeah.
I think I remember what she said.
Classes.
I'll text you.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
get the whole time.
Okay.
They go through Charleston.
Oh, okay.
They'd ask you why. I mean, told us no. Yeah. And
So, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of things we have to do over summer. Next year we'll have to.
How much fuel is your tail are you? Well, how much? I mean, they, so you had first class and they were.
Good night.
Job before. Your job is twice as good as yours. You only had 6 dollars. I think you got 6. What do you like?
Are you blinking back there? Thank you.
Judge, did I hear you right that you're anticipating an hour and a half for any presentation, or was that the?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. Sorry.
We don't have any business to conduct it. I need two. I need one.
I'm one.
Come on, Devin.
Is she in the area?
I think she's in her office.
Yeah, Judge, you're not agendized for any business with the special session, it's just receiving those presentations.
See if you can scare one of them up. Get cookies. Plenty of cookies.
No cookies.
No cookies?
No cookies. I don't ride a bike long enough to eat cookies.
I have to get on the elliptical, and the more cookies I eat, the longer I have to stay on that damn thing.
I got them all, man. All right, let's do this.
He's a wrangler.
Having returned from our closed session, there being no business to conduct at this time, we stand adjourned.